Hello, and welcome back to the Adams Lab field video. As always, I'm Kyle. Today I'm here by myself at La Selva Biological Station in Costa Rica. La Selva is run by OTS, the Organization for Tropical Studies in English, or OET, Organización para Estudios Tropicales, I think. I am hunting for ants, as always, and today I'm at my favorite trail, CCL, or the head of my favorite trail. I can't remember what CCL stands for. Unfortunately, maybe I'll edit it in later, fix it in post, but I'm going to take you down, hike the trail with me. It's about a 40-ish minute walk to my field site, so we're just going to look at things. I don't have to do Not going to do any work mostly along the way, but maybe when we get closer I can show you what I've been doing for a lot of my efforts here in Costa Rica. You'll see why CCL is my favorite trail later on. I don't have much to ramble about today. Actually, before I came out, when I woke up this morning, it was a bright, beautiful, sunny day. And while I was eating breakfast, it got cloudy, drizzled a little bit. It's okay now, but we'll see if we get some more rain. One of the nice things, actually look at this. This is Apterostigma colony. Let's poke it and see if anything comes out. Doesn't look like it. Well, oh well. So that's one of the cool things about working in the rainforest. You just walk along and you can see so much cool stuff. I mean, there are so many plants and fungi just around. I'm not a botanist or a mycologist, so I don't feel I can really describe them to you, but it is very beautiful. And then a lot of critters, a lot of lizards, a lot of small mammals. I've seen mice and rabbits. Lots and lots of birds. Everyone loves the birds. Tinnamoos everywhere. I've seen toucans, some parrots, a couple of macaws in particular. I don't know. I'm not an ornithologist either, so I can't tell you about that. And then loads and loads of invertebrates, isopods, ants galore, beetles of all kinds, longhorn beetles, wide-necked beetles, tiger beetles, wasps, a whole lot of the spider hunting wasps, a lot of leafcutter ants. They're everywhere in Central and South America, it feels like, and they really like the trails that we use. It's an easy highway for them. It's already cleared. I don't know if you can see it, but let me get my flashlight. They have a little trail. Actually, I think these are army ants. Wow. Okay, so these are army ants, not not leaf cutters. Let's see what happens when you poke them. Oh, it gets very angry, understandably. Well, we're gonna leave them to it. I don't really want to find out what it's like to fight an army ant today. Or any day, for that matter, but not today where I can embarrass myself on camera. Yes, as I was saying before, just the biodiversity just explodes as you get closer to the equator. It's a very picturesque place to be. It may look a little dreary right now, but it's actually nicer to walk when there's overcast, because that means it's cooler out for the day. So it's a little easier to deal with. Of course, the humidity is a little higher, but also the frogs really like it. might get some very heavy rains this afternoon. If that happens, that means all the frogs come out at the swamps at night. Try to get a video of that too if I remember. One thing you don't want to do in the tropics is bump into random plants, because random plants might contain things that would be unpleasant to come into contact with, such as hairy stinging caterpillars or bullet ants. I have not been stung by either of those. I don't really want to. Okay, I kind of want to be stung by a bullet ant. I'm curious. But not today when I'm hiking out to the field to do stuff. I'm going to try to be quiet as we go through. As much as I'd love to talk and ramble, I think one of the sensory experiences you have here in the rainforest is just hearing things. So I hope the microphone on this is good enough to pick that up, because there's just so much going on and it's very humbling. You may be wondering, Kyle, do you always just hike in complete silence? And the answer is sometimes. Sometimes I'll just sing to myself. I'm not going to do that on camera. Lately I've been just listening to a podcast. I toss a podcast on, hike. It helps, I don't know, deal with the monotony. I know I was singing the praises of hiking through the field, the rainforest earlier. Some very upset birds. And it is a very beautiful place, but sometimes I just gotta keep my brain engaged in a way that treading the same path I've been treading for the past few days doesn't. One thing I haven't seen is a lot of venomous snakes. I haven't actually seen any venomous snakes. And that might be because they aren't here, or they're just not around wherever I'm going. Or that might be because I just haven't seen them, but they've seen me. I hope it is the former and not the latter. Alright, we're coming up to my favorite spot on the trail. You might be able to hear it already, but when we get here, I'm just going to take a moment so we can all appreciate this together, because it is beautiful. So here it is. This is the bridge over the river. I think this is, I'll talk more about it after. I'm gonna stop here in the middle. Let's take some time to appreciate it. You have the benefit of a 360 camera that you can pause at any point. I don't, so I'm just gonna look here, and then I'll turn around. So you can look with me if you want. Look wherever you want. It's up to you. You're intelligent. Make sure to take the time to look up. Just kind of experience this whole thing. Don't just look out. Don't just look down. These are all wonderful scenes, but also make sure to look up into that canopy. One of the things that I learned from an older grad student when I first started, he said something along the lines of he wishes that he just looked up more. And yeah, I'm gonna learn from him. Take a moment to just appreciate everything. So my glasses clog up, that is. Check out the other side. Alright, let's get going. I saw some monkeys a little further along, so maybe they'll come talk to us today. I think one of my favorite things about here is that I get to go through these picturesque scenes, like that bridge on the river. That's something you'd see in a nature documentary. That's like the photo for July on a calendar for exotic trip locations. Things that as I was growing up, I would see images of and never even imagine that I'd get to experience or fantasize about experiencing them. And now I walk through here every day for, it's going to be a month, 31 days by the time I'm done. And it's just, I don't know, so powerful. You got to experience the visual aspect of it, and I hope you heard a lot of the noise, because the rush of that river over those boulders it kind of drowns out everything else. There's no on days when it's really flooded, I mean, you can't hear yourself think, so there's nothing else in the world. It's just the river filling all of your senses. But as much as sight and sound are important, you can hear maybe the howler monkeys now. They're upset because the sky is cloudy. Or maybe because I'm walking through here. They complain about a lot. But as much as the rainforest is a visual or auditory experience, it fills every other sense that you have. Smell, just experiencing the kind of damp leaf litter, and if there are peccaries nearby, those are like forest pigs. They reek. Lucky you don't have smell-o-vision. Or just the flowers, or the smell of like alarm pheromone if there's a bee swarm. The kind of touch, not as much. I don't go out and touch random plants because I don't want to interact with anything spooky. But if you wanted to, I mean, you just feel this old log covered in moss. It's like a full immersive experience that unfortunately I don't think a video can do it full justice, but I hope you get a little taste of field biology. And this is the best part about being a field biologist. Part of your job is to come out here, just appreciate nature, try to solve just a little puzzle of it, expand humanity's boundary of knowledge just that little bit more. One of the nice things about working here at La Selva in Costa Rica is that a lot of the trails are very nicely maintained. And so before I was on a paved trail, either just paved with cement or with paving stones. Now it's an actual like standard hiking trail, but they're still well maintained, and it makes getting to my field sites and working so easy. And I really do appreciate that about this place and about all of the people who work very hard to make sure that these trails are easy goings for researchers or tourists or anybody who's coming through. We're coming up to one of our big landmarks here on the trail. This is CCL Big Log. It's called that because it's on CCL and it's a big log. Sometimes if I'm having a rough day, I'll just stop and rest here for a moment. I'm not going to do that today because it'd be boring for you to watch, but I will show you a little bit of what I've been doing here. So, Big Log, CCL Big Log, is where we started baiting for Megalomyrmex. And what that looks like is I have a bag of bait. In this case, they are pecan sandies that aren't fully crushed up because I just put them in. Mixed with oats. Ants go crazy for this stuff. Some other researchers use honey and tuna. All viable options. This is just what we use because it's easy to acquire. So you have your bag. You get a pinch. I like a large dash. You throw it down. I have spots cleared already because we've been through here. And then once you bait, typically what you do is then put a piece of index card down just so you can easily find the bait. So as we walk through here, you're going to see spots with orange flagging. Those are places where I found Megalomyrmex peetersi, which is a species, a pretty new, recently described species. We described it in 2020. You can look for that paper, Sozanski et al. 2020. It's open source, so anyone can just read it if you have access to it. And this style of trapping that we used to find these, or baiting that we used to find these, was what I call landmark baiting. So whenever you walk past a landmark on the trail, because you can just hunt for these on trail, I don't even have to walk into the forest, and drop baits down at notable landmarks. Trees, very easy one, very obvious. Little crooks or fallen logs in the trail, great spot. This was a place that I baited before and I collected that colony, so it's not marked anymore. Trees in the middle of trails, I mean, what I'm trying to find stuff like this. I don't know what, I think this is a palm. I'm not a botanist. Things like this, you can see in here, the ants love to make their nests inside where all of this kind of organic matter clumps up. They'll just curl over leaves and make little homes. The other method of baiting is a more systematic, not systemic. A method where you say you bait every few meters and you just leave a station there on either side of the trail regardless. I've done that too at a different spot in the trail. Actually, I think we'll walk down there today too. Sure, why not add on that little bit of time just so you can see. That's kind of my follow-up I like this landmark because I'm baiting where I think the ants are going to be anyway. And we've been very successful with Megalomyrmex peetersi. But the more systematic way is good if you're having trouble finding ants. So for example, I've been trying to hunt Megalomyrmex modestus, which is this species that doesn't like to come out. It's very hidden. They'll make debris tunnels, and they walk under leaves. They don't like to come out, and so they're a bit harder to find, even if you're baiting at landmarks. They also make these massive kind of multiple colony spaces, so they're sort of polydomous is what we call that. Multiple domes or multiple homes. And so a systematic approach is good for just kind of being dense with the sampling. Whoa. So we were very lucky with Megalomyrmex peetersi this year. In total, I found 25 colonies. And that's just with this landmark baiting strategy. Here's where the real hiking begins. This is one of the colonies I've just been observing casually. I might post the video to this, but this is another peetersi colony where there are some fightly neighbors that they get into fights with. We're coming up, that's the intersection of 3 trails. CCL's Camino Circular Lejano. This is a picnic table. It's a good stopping point for this, so I am actually going to take a rest. Maybe I'll get a video of that systematic approach in a bit once I'm done, but thank you for joining me on my hike today. Hope it was fun to watch, and yeah, please leave any questions or anything if you have any below.